WrestleMania is fast approaching, and the sign pointing is starting to hit its stride. Now, before we get into the biggest pay-per-view event of the year, we have to take a moment and appreciate the greatness of a certain wrestler. I'm obviously talking about Chris Jericho, you stupid idiot. Okay, I'm so sorry. That delivery's a lot better coming from Jericho. You're not a stupid idiot. I'm Greg, and this is your Wrestling Tuesday update for the week. And to keep up with all of GameSpot's wrestling content, be sure to subscribe. Now let's dive right in and look at some of the greatest moments from the Ayatollah of rock and roller himself, Y2J. Chris Jericho has wrestled for over 27 years. Let's start at the early 90s, a time before Jericho was screaming at everyone to shut the hell up. Jericho began a good chunk of his early career in Mexico and competed in Lucha Libre. There, due to his long blonde hair, he was given names that referenced lions in Spanish. First, he was known as the Golden Lion, and then over time that evolved into Lionheart. The name would stick with him all the way to his 1996 WCW debut. Speaking of the WCW, while you may remember his great cruiserweight runs, we'll get to that in a minute, let's not forget to mention his weird feud with Bill Goldberg. During the final years of WCW, Jericho was involved in a feud where he would call Goldberg out without any response and win the match. In an interview years later, Jericho claimed that he was cool with jobbing the Goldberg on a pay-per-view, but refused to do so in a squash match in Nitro. Jericho says he even resorted to hiding in the upper deck of the building so they couldn't make him do it on free TV. This insane tactic of heel work would go too far, as years later in the WWE, Goldberg and Y2J would have an actual, not worked fight backstage. One of my favorite moments has to be Jericho's Man of 1004 Hold segment on Monday Night Nitro. In 1998, Dean Malenko claimed to be the man of 1,000 holds. During one of the many feuds between the two men, Jericho walked out to the Nitro ring with a stack of papers, reading off a list of 1,004 holds for the entire segment. He continued reading through the entire commercial break and only stopped when his microphone was cut off. This is one of the funniest moments in wrestling history and truly set Jericho apart from the rest of the WCW roster. During another feud with Dean Malenko, who defeated Jericho for the Cruiserweight Championship, Jericho stuck to the belief that the loss was part of a larger conspiracy theory, of which he was the victim. The list of people to blame was long and complicated, and even included the US government. The storyline would take Jericho to the US Capitol and lead to one of the best WCW promos in years. Remember the Y2K bug of 1999? It was said to be a virus that would bring down the world's computers and grind society to an absolute halt. With the WCW now dead, Jericho would sign a deal with WWE. Jericho pitched the idea of vignettes airing on the WWE programming that would show a countdown clock similar to a doomsday clocks which were counting down the century. McMahon liked the idea, and they created a Y2J clock that would count down to August 9th, 1999, when Jericho would debut on WWE Raw. It was genius. This is one of my all-time favorite debuts, next to Glacier's WCW debut. Yes, that Glacier. One of the most blatant Mortal Kombat ripoffs I've ever witnessed. In the early 2000s, I was finally coming around to the sad truth that the WCW was gone forever, and Nitro was never coming back. After buying out WCW in 2001, the WWE not only had to find a way to manage the giant roster of wrestlers from the rival promotion, but its championships as well. At the 2001 Vengeance pay-per-view, the WWE Championship and the title formerly known as the WCW World Heavyweight Championship would become one. The Rock would defend the WCW title against Jericho, and Stone Cold Steve Austin would defend his WWE Championship against Kurt Angle. And the two winners would meet in a third match to decide the undisputed champion. Jericho used the People's Elbow, the Sharpshooter, and the Rock Bottom, along with interference from Mr. McMahon himself to upset the Great One. This was an all-out bonkers pay-per-view that culminated in Booker T ambushing Austin from behind and Jericho rolling over for the pin. Y2J could then brag for the rest of his career that he was the only man to ever beat Austin and The Rock on the same night. Now, this list can't be complete without mentioning one of the best WWE storylines in years. I'm talking about the friendship of Kevin Owens and Y2J. The undeniable chemistry between the two superstars was perfectly executed inside and outside the ring. Sadly, on February 13th, we witnessed the end of a friendship, yet also one of the best wrestling angles ever. With Owens set to face his toughest challenge yet in a match with Goldberg at the upcoming Fastlane pay-per-view, Jericho set up a festival of friendship. This might be Jericho's greatest promo. Y2J wore a silver sequin vest and fedora to Vegas, danced down the aisle arm in arm with showgirls, and commissioned a riff on Michelangelo's creation of Adam that swaps himself and his best friend in for Adam and God. Everything was perfect in the world up to this moment. But this is wrestling, of course, so friendships never last. Kevin Owens would then reveal his gift to Jericho, which was a list of KO. My heart sunk the second I knew where this segment was leading to. I'm still triggered by this promo and have old visions of Shawn Michaels throwing Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window all over again, just like Matt did last week. Thank you so much for watching. Now, there are so many more Chris Jericho moments that I wasn't able to put in this video, like his matches with Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio, his feud with Shawn Michaels that led to one of the greatest matches ever at WrestleMania. Let me know what your favorite is in the comment section below. And while you're at it, keep it here to GameSpot Universe for everything wrestling, movies, comics, television, and more. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.